Hi there, I'm Lucy Phillip. Welcome to the She Has No Limits mini-series. I own a company called Perfectly Blended, and we help organisations and individuals to get the outcomes that they want through bespoke and innovative training and coaching solutions. I myself am a learning and development expert and an ICF business, personal and family coach, and also a single mum to 3 children between the ages of 8 and 14. So it's fair to say that I've seen my fair share of change and adversity over the years. So before I move into my session, I just want to take a moment to thank the organisers of the She Has No Limits mini-series, conference, awards, and all the fantastic stuff that's coming with that. So a massive thank you to the Leadership Through Change, that is Catherine and Amanda, the Career Mum Amanda, and Thrive Law, which is Jodie and Paul, for putting on this fantastic event, and also for inviting me to be part of the mini-series. So why am I here today and what am I going to cover? So as I was thinking about the concept of She Has No Limits, and I was thinking about what would be useful to cover on my session, a familiar story came to mind, and it was a story that maybe you might be familiar with too. It's the story of the fleas in the jar. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with the story, I'll just give you a quick recap because it's a pretty simple concept, if I'm honest. So the concept is that if you put fleas in a jar, they will try and escape. So they will jump as high as they possibly can to try and escape. If you then put a lid onto that jar, it's not long before the fleas will limit how far they jump on the basis of the lid. But the funny thing is that when you remove that lid, they will no longer try and escape from the jar, even though the lid and the limit has been removed. So it's fair to say that they adapt according to their environment. And that's what I want to talk about today, because we're all products of the environment of our past or the environment that we're currently operating in. Now, I want to quote one of my favourite psychologists at this point, Carl Jung, who some of you are probably familiar with. And Carl Jung has a very famous quote. He says that until we make the unconscious conscious, we will let it direct our lives and we will call it fate. And that's what I want to talk about today, and I want to get us doing is I want us getting really super conscious about what the next chapter of our lives look like. How am I going to do that? I'm going to do that through a very short visualization exercise that you can hopefully then access yourself over the coming hours, weeks, days and months, because it's a really simple concept. And some of you might even want to couple that with doing some journaling as well, which is another great way to really get super clear on what it is that we want. So before I do that and before I move into the exercise, I just want to take a moment for us to imagine what it would be like if we could move forward with absolute purpose and clarity, and what a difference that might make to our confidence and our ability to access the resources that we need to move forward into the next phase, and whatever that next phase might hold for you. Whether that next phase is about a new job, whether it's about a new purpose, a new direction, maybe it's just about making small tweaks to what we have already to make it more ideal for us and our situation. So get comfy and just embrace a few minutes with me to be indulgent about what your next chapter might look like. Now, I want you to imagine that your brain is a filing cabinet and it's full of files with lots and lots of files in it. And those files are full of things that we have already given deep thought to. Those files are familiar, we can access them super easily, and if anyone asks us questions or causes us to have any doubt, we can access those files really clearly and with clarity. But what I want us to do today is I want us to create a brand new file in our filing cabinet. And I want us to call that file what I really, really want. Now, it may take a bit of time to create this new file, and that is absolutely okay, because the files that are already there have probably been there for a long time, and you've been adding to them as the days and weeks and months and years have gone on. But this is a brand new file, and we're going to create that file today with great excitement and anticipation of how that file is going to develop for us. As you start to think about what it is that you really want and to immerse yourself in that, I want you to really think about, what would it be like when you've achieved the one thing that you really want? If you could tangibly grab hold of it, what would it be like? What would it feel like? What would you be saying? What would you be doing? What would the people around you be saying and doing? And how would they be feeling? And how would this new thing that you really want be impacting on every part of your life? Okay, don't be surprised if your mind is naturally drawn to the things that you don't want. Because don't forget, we've had years and years to think about the things that we don't want, and to maybe even live a life full of things that we don't want. But you know what? The great thing about being clear on what you don't want means that you can get super clear and focused on what it is that you want instead. So perhaps what you don't want is the rigidity of the life that you currently have, or the job that you've walked away from. So what is it that you want? If you don't want rigidity, what is it that you want instead? What does that flexibility look like for you? And the more specific that we can be with our thoughts, with our feelings, and to really step inside of that new file and create it and allow our thoughts to create it, the easier it is and the closer to our grasp that new file will be. Maybe you're struggling right now with this question, and maybe it doesn't come clearly to you, but that's okay, because you've got time to do this, and you can revisit this exercise as many times as you need to get that clarity. And as I've said, you know, if it helps to journal and write it down and come back to it, then that is absolutely fine. The important thing is to be as specific as possible, and to really get in with the detail of what this new chapter is going to look like and what it is that you really want for yourself. Okay. So what we've done there is a really simple visualization exercise to enable you to take back some control. And here's the thing, when we are faced with adversity, we have setbacks, or things don't go our way, the tendency is to feel overwhelmed and forget what our purpose is and forget what it is that we really want. We're tempted to apply for jobs that maybe aren't quite a good fit for us. We're tempted to enroll on every course going because we're just grasping at straws. And the more we can get super clear on what it is that we want, the more we can then ground back to that at these times of adversity, or when we're feeling our resolve wavering slightly, we can step right back in there to that file that we have already created in our filing cabinet. And the more we do that, the bigger it will get, and the more we can flex that muscle to step right back in there into that visualization as and when we need to. So back to the fleas in the jar analogy, I invite you to think about the lid that was put onto the jar and what stopped those fleas exceeding their limits even when the lid was removed. And I want you to think about, what limits have you put on your own life, and to throw that lid away through this visualization exercise and really think about what that next chapter is going to look like for you with absolutely no limits, because I want for you exactly what your heart desires. So thank you for spending some time with me today. Thank you for being open to considering the visualization exercise and taking a moment to step inside of what will be the new chapter, the new exciting chapter for you. I really look forward to meeting some of you at the virtual conference, And please do get in touch when you're ready to explore this to an even greater level, because I would be delighted to be part of your journey going forward. Thank you and good luck.